Hello everyone and welcome to another review. Today we're going to go ahead and review a fragrance from the house of Choo. This fragrance is the first release in the men's line for fragrances geared towards men, and the fragrance is called Choo Man. Now, Choo Man was released in 2014, again, first fragrance in the line of men's fragrances, and for the 1.7 it retails for $62 and the 3.4 retails for $82. So it's an average priced designer fragrance that's priced along the lines of designer lines, so that's pretty much what you can expect of that. The bottle and the appearance, to me, it's got this elegant, sleek look to it. Not a bad bottle and appearance. It's not my favorite, but again, I don't think it's terrible, and based off of the testings that I was able to do with the actual bottle itself, it seemed pretty sturdy to me, and there really wasn't much to write home about the actual bottle. Alright, so with that, let's go ahead and get right into the notes of this fragrance. The notes of this fragrance consist of honeydew melon, pink pepper, pineapple leaf, lavender, patchouli, and suede. So when I sprayed this fragrance, before I even mention that, I have to say that this is probably one of the most frequently, this was one of the most frequent requested items that people had just been nailing me to go ahead and review, and I was actually eager to get my hands on this one just because I was really curious to see why it was that people were so curious about it. One of the reasons was, again, this was the first fragrance from the house of Choo. This was for geared towards men. Their female fragrances are actually pretty popular, and overall I was just really excited to actually get my hands on it. So when I did get my hands on it and I sprayed it, I immediately thought, I've smelled this before. Where have I smelled this before? And it only took me about 5-10 seconds and I instantly thought in my head, Bleu de Chanel. This smells like Bleu de Chanel over and over, and I'm like, I can't be crazy about this. So I wore it again. The first wearing, I actually didn't go back to smell Bleu de Chanel. Wore it again, the second wearing, and I'm like, yes, let's see if I change my mind. Maybe it's something in the air, maybe it was something else. And when I wore it the second time, I was still getting that vibe. So I went ahead, put on Bleu de Chanel, both the EDT and the EDP version, tried them out separately, and I was like, yes, this smells very, very shockingly similar. What you get when you first spray it is this honeydew, or not honeydew, but melon, pink pepper type of a smell, very similar to the citrus vibe that you get in Bleu de Chanel. Outside of that, after it kind of goes into its heart note, you start to get a little bit more lavender and a little bit more suede, and it dies down to a little bit of that. Now, enter the problems with this fragrance. All that span that I just described is about anywhere between 2 and 4 hours. This fragrance does not last at all. So one of the main differences, and one of the things that I said, if you actually refer back to my Bleu de Chanel review, the original EDT review, you'll notice that I said that Bleu de Chanel, it has an average type of a scent to it, and Choo Man is the same way. It has a very average type of cologne-y smell to it. You smell good. It's kind of really got like a typical type of a cologne smell. The difference with Bleu de Chanel to me was I thought that it expanded on that original cologne smell and made it extraordinary by being it. So generic doesn't necessarily mean bad, but this has a generic smell to it. However, this doesn't have that expansion on it. The performance on this is dismal. 2 hours, 2 to 4. 2 hours was my average, basically. So sometimes I got a little bit less than 2 hour performance, which is horrible on it. It was just gone from my skin. I don't know how to explain it. But 2 to 4 hours, other than that, it was gone on my skin. The other aspect that it doesn't have is it just doesn't have the power that Bleu de Chanel had. So while it has that, I guess you could say, that average smelling scent to it, the thing that it suffers in with that average smelling scent is the fact that it doesn't really go anywhere with it. So there really isn't much to write home about it. That aside, it does smell good. It smells good, but if you were to tell me side by side and say, hey, Cody, I have Bleu de Chanel, should I get Choo Man? I'd say no. If you said, Cody, I don't have Bleu de Chanel or Choo Man, what should I get? I would say Chanel's Bleu de Chanel. Get it. It's just a better version. I don't know what else to say. But that doesn't mean it's a bad fragrance. If you say to me, Cody, I have Choo Man, should I get Bleu de Chanel? That's where I might waver. I might say, it depends on, if you're not really satisfied with the performance out of your Choo Man, then I would definitely say go ahead and pick up the Bleu de Chanel. But if you're satisfied with the performance, I would say Probably not. They're both a little bit too similar. Stick with your Jimmy Choo Man. So I generally wear this one in the summer months. I think it could be applied more in the summer months, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I didn't actually get a full year's worth of, wearing this one. But either way, you can definitely wear this one in the summer months, basically when it's hot. And it needs the heat because of the projection, the projection problems that this fragrance actually has. The occasion, I think you can wear it to work. I think you can wear it to a date. I think you can wear it casually. I think it's a good fragrance for all around like that. But the problem that you're going to come across it, obviously, is the projection. I don't think many people will actually smell you. Because when we got onto compliments for this fragrance, it did not perform well compliment-wise at all. Nobody complimented me on this, whereas with Bleu de Chanel, I get compliments a lot. And I just suspect that it's not necessarily the smell itself that is causing people to not compliment it. It's the fact that they can't smell it that is causing people not to compliment it. Yeah, I would probably say that's probably the most fair assessment that I can actually give of it. And the performance-wise, it's got terrible projection, terrible sillage, and poor longevity. So 2 to 4 hours of longevity is what I was getting from this. Sorry, some technical difficulty there. So if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give this fragrance a rating a 3 out of 10. I give it a 3 out of 10 for a number of reasons. I was really tempted to kind of bump it up, but ultimately I really could not. Now, the smell itself is not a bad smell. I actually think it's a pretty good smell. It's a smell that reminds me very closely to Bleu de Chanel, but it's still not a bad smell. The problems with this fragrance are A, that it does not project. I mean, a fragrance 2-4 hours, for longevity, it's got no longevity, 2-4 hours longevity. It's got no projection. It's got no sillage, so people aren't really going to smell you. And I think really that's one of the main purposes of fragrances. So there are some fragrances that to me wear lighter on the skin, and I really don't penalize fragrances for being lighter on the skin. But this is kind of different. This just fades so quickly that I really find it hard to justify forking over any money for it. I'm really of the opinion that if you want this smell, which it does smell good, you're better off going with Bleu de Chanel, either the EDT or the EDP. Even the EDP, even though the EDP didn't give as good marks as the EDT for Bleu de Chanel, I still think they're both better fragrances than Jimmy Choo Man by leagues and legends. So, I mean, again, yeah, not a bad smell, but you can get better for your money's worth. All right, so let me know what your thoughts are on Jimmy Choo Man. I know that I probably disagree with a lot of you on what your thoughts are on Jimmy Choo Man, but that's what I do. I review fragrances, and I just don't think this is a good fragrance. All right, thank you, take care of yourselves, and have a great day.